and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. Today's video is going to be something that I haven't visited for a while. I'm going to be doing another trash to miniature treasure video, and whilst it's not quite the same as the previous ones I'm doing, I'm trying definitely to make something out of pretty much nothing. Out of trash and out of things that you might have lying about at home, or you might have bought deliberately to do craft things with. I'm not judging. I'm really not judging. Today's video has been inspired by skewers. Now these are small bamboo skewers. These are, according to the box, 180mm long. So that is about 7 inches. Now normally skewers are, bamboo skewers that I found, are longer than these. They're a good deal longer because they're intended for barbecuing, for grilling outside. But I spotted these in a shop and thought, oh, those would be handy because they're smaller. And the problem I have is, if I use one, I end up with big chunks left over, or lots of big chunks left over because I want the pointy end for something, that kind of thing. But you could use the longer ones, you could cut them down. I just happen to have bought these, and it gave me a really good idea. So we're going to be using some skewers. We're going to be using more than these. I just pulled a few out to show you. I'm also going to be using a bottle cap. Now this is a fairly good sized bottle cap, which I think is going to be big enough for my purpose. It's the biggest one I could find in my little stash. And I'm going to be using some cereal box board, just some scraps of that. And there's going to be a couple of other things I'm going to use. I'm going to use a bit of fabric, but I haven't decided what fabric yet, and I'll probably be using some paint. But this is the main things that you're going to need for today's make. If you are still wondering what I'm making, I'm going to be making a chair today. The bottle cap is going to form the seat, and I'm going to use the skewers, which I've now cut down, to make the legs, and they are actually going to fit on the back half of the bottle cap. I will probably cut another piece to go underneath the front, but it is going to be supported something like so, but evenly. I will say it will be supported evenly. Now I've cut my skewers down to 3 different lengths. You could cut them all different lengths so that they sort of fanned down nicely, but I decided that rather than doing that, I've got 3 at my longest length, 4 at a intermediate length, and then 2 that are my shortest length. Now I have also fetched out Grandmama again. Yes, she's still waiting for a makeover, just to check that the seat was big enough to hold a doll, even one who's not in the best of conditions, as Grandmama is. Sorry dear. And to give me something to work with. Now I've worked out that the top of the seat, where the doll would actually sit, needs to be 1.5 inches off the ground. This is based upon a seat height of about 18 inches ordinarily. That seems to work. That seems to work in relation to some other dolls, those chairs that I've got, so that's what I'm going with. Now I did want to find a circle punch that would fit inside the hole. I couldn't. Not find the plain circle, but I found a scalloped circle, and I've cut out 3 of those, which I've glued together, and that fits inside there really snugly, and that is going to give my actual seat cushion some support, rather than the bottle top, which has got all shapes and things inside. And I've also got a strip of yes, I'll think what it's called in a minute, board, cereal box board, which is going to go around the outside. So the bottle top is actually going to be lost. That will go around there, something like so. Cushion in the middle, and then those will form the quite a spiky back leg scenario. So my first job is going to be to sort the bits of the seat out that are going to make the cushion, and obviously I'm going to use this. I have pulled out a little bit of toy stuffing. I haven't pulled it out of a toy. I could have done if I was so inclined, but I'd got some in my materials drawer. I was trying to figure out how to describe it, but it is a drawer which has got mostly fabrics, and there's some little bags of this kind of toy stuff in that are... I've obtained them from various places when I've bought kits for the materials, the fabrics they contain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this onto here, and that's going to give me far more of a cushion than I want. But then when I put that in there and I cover it with fabric, it will hopefully, fingers crossed, work. So that's my first job. Get the glue out and do that and get that put together. The glue is drying on the toy stuffing. Now you could use felt folded up to make your cushion. You could use scraps of whatever fabric you've got. Make a little cushion, little bag. Fill it up with the bits, scrappy bits of material that you've got. Shred it up. I think in dressmaking terms it's known as cabbage. Don't know why, but I believe that's what it's known as. And then stick that into place. I'd got this, so that's what I'm using. And while I just wait for that to take, you can see that actually it comes well above where I need it to. I do not need my seat to be that high, but I am banking on my fabric, and I have got this sort of crushed velvet that's got a bit of stretch to hold it into place. Now, I am going to basically cover this bottle top with the fabric, and what I really want to do is to ensure that I've got a nice finish at the front, because that is what is going to be seen. So I will be folding and stretching and gluing and probably making a right mess underneath, but we don't worry about that because it's underneath. If you're really worried about it, you can then either cut another piece of fabric to go on the bottom. A piece of felt would be ideal for that. In fact, I might actually go and find some felt and make a little felt cover, or you can cover it with some more of the cereal box board, again cut to size. I would recommend that you actually, if you're going to do either of those, draw around the bottle top first, so you've got something that is in the right size range, and hopefully then it will work. So we're going to cover our seat with the fabric. You can use anything you want. I just happen to have this again in my stash, and I think I can make that work in one of my doll's house rooms, and we'll go from there. I have covered my seat Now I did this with a combination of my regular glue and some hot glue. Hot glue is great in this situation because it grabs quickly, but obviously it can give over time. In extreme temperatures it can soften, so it's always recommended that you use a bit of caution with hot glue, and that you use it in conjunction with another glue that takes longer to hold. So that's what I've done. So my actual seat is basically done. Now I am going to put the cardstock piece, it's not cardstock piece, it's the piece from the food packaging around the outside. Now I've painted this. I've actually done all my painting in preparation, and I went with a dark grey undercoat and a metallic silver top coat because I wanted them to look quite nicely metallic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this around here. Now again, I may have to resort to the hot glue just to get it to grab, and then use some of my regular glue to hold it in place. I'm having a few issues today. I'm not feeling brilliantly, and it's actually been a couple of days since I started this video. So I'm not going to be trying to do this on camera because I know it's not going to end well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off and I am going to stick this piece around here, and then we'll come back and we will look at adding the skewers to make the decorative back and leg section of the seat. The band around the seat is in place, and as I said I was going to, I stuck it down with a combination of hot glue and my usual glue. I've given it a while to dry, and it's looking good. I've also stuck the felt piece on the bottom just to tidy that up. It doesn't fit perfectly because obviously I needed to put at least one leg on at the front, and the next step is actually to stick the other pieces on at the back. And I've used this leg to set their height, and I'm now going to be working at this very awkwardly. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to have to use something to put it against, possibly the box that the skewers were in, so that I can actually get everything at the right height and still get them spaced out as I want on the back. So yeah, that's the next step. But I am liking how this is going. It is going how I wanted it to, which is quite frankly amazing at the moment. And we shall see how we get on. I decided to go with 2 legs at the front rather than the one I was going to go with, mostly because it gives it a steadier appearance when it's sat up. I attached all of my skewers with a combination of hot glue and my regular glue. The first one definitely needed the hot glue just so I could get it in place where I wanted it, and then after that it was actually a bit easier with the regular glue. I used another skewer, actually a piece that I cut off, to give me my spacings, because I wanted them to be fairly regular. They're not perfect, but they are better than they might have been if I'd tried to do it completely by eye. And I'm quite pleased with this. Now, if you wanted, you could put more legs around the front. You could sort of continue the theme, so it almost looks like a cage underneath. You could in fact make it a cage underneath if you so desired. Don't know why you'd want to, but never rule anything out. You could use some cardstock painted in the same colour to make a band to hold them together. You could use some wire to do the same thing. It's up to you. I did actually think that if you wanted to make something that was even spookier, you could put some skull beads on the spikes, so it looked like your chair was decorated with the heads of your enemies. You know, I'm not going to judge if that's how you want to do this, but I've got a sort of spooky chair that fits with my aesthetic and isn't too stereotypical. Now I've got Grandmama here still, and I will just sit her on there, and you can see that even in this wonderful dress that she's wearing, it's got to go. She sits quite nicely. Her feet don't touch the floor, but her feet don't actually touch the floor on most of the chairs that I've put her on. Her dress disguises this, but it actually works, and she can sit on there quite happily. And yeah, so I think this actually qualifies as a definite trash to miniature treasure. You can't really tell that it was something that was going to be trashed. Obviously I've disguised the bottle top. It definitely came out of the recycling. And the skewers weren't exactly destined for the trash, but they're those things that we quite often have a few left over at the end of a summer season, because that's when we tend to use them. So, you know, a good way of using something up. I hope that you've enjoyed this little make, and if you have enjoyed the video, please like, comment and subscribe. Maybe even ring that notification bell so that you'll get to know when I put a new video up. I put a video up pretty much every week, normally on a Friday, but I never say never, because real life does get in the way sometimes. But until next time, bye!